Hey, so in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of Davis County. I'm going to show you everything there is to know about Davis County, what the best places to live, where places to avoid. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are showing you Davis County here. You'll see it outlined in this red around here. A couple of things you're going to want to know right off the bat if you move to Davis County. So there's kind of a lot of different areas, but they're all kind of the same. You basically have your eastern areas. A lot of the east areas are going to be east of I-15, so this highway that runs all the way through here. A lot of mountain properties, beautiful views, higher end neighborhoods. When you go west of I-15, little smaller houses, older houses, more starter homes. It's not always true like that, but it is in some places. Some places like Farmington, which we'll talk about in a second. If you go out into the west, there is still country living you can find out there, a lot of flatter lands, houses with property. You'll also notice that Davis County also encompasses part of the Salt Lake and Antelope Island as well. But we're going to start here in the south, and we're just going to work our way north. So if you start down here, the first town that you get into in Davis County is North Salt Lake. So North Salt Lake is maybe a 10-minute drive from downtown Salt Lake City. It's also right by the airport as well. And North Salt Lake is basically broken up into two areas, right? You have your mountainside properties up in this area on here on the east side. If you zoom in here a little bit, there are some trailheads that you can hike around here. You have your golf course. You've got North Canyon Park. These homes are $1 million plus. There are a couple areas that have townhome, condo-like buildings and structures up there, but most of these houses are going to be in your $1 million plus range. Obviously, it's a really beautiful area. It goes up pretty high up the mountain. You get a really nice view of the valley. When you go to the west side in this area right here, there's a lot of new developments in these areas. So there's a lot of townhomes. There's a lot of smaller starter homes. They kind of build them right on top of each other. I'm not a big fan of it. But there are newer developments here in this area. So you can find a little bit more affordable housing. It says that the average price in North Salt Lake is $550, but it's kind of a weird thing because you can find things in the 400s in this area, but then you get up into the mountain areas and it pulls that average really high up. So, but North Salt Lake's actually not too big. If you're really interested, if you're more into the city life or in, going to places, you're going to want to drive into Salt Lake because there's going to be more to do in Salt Lake City. When you go north, you go into this little place called Woods Cross. And the map kind of makes it look like it's this whole area. It's really not. It's really just the west area is Woods Cross. And Woods Cross has a lot of older homes out west. There's even a couple of them, I believe, that were built in the 1800s. Flatter land, but Woods Cross has a lot of manufacturers. So they have a lot of warehouses. It's kind of an more industrialized area. So you can find some homes that are on the cheaper side. It's a great place to get entry level jobs that pay decent. When you come over here to Bountiful has a few parts to it. So you have this kind of main area right through here. This is kind of your downtown area. A lot of smaller homes, older homes. Average price in Bountiful is $635. It gets pretty expensive because most of Bountiful's housing is up on the mountain, and the mountains kind of start right here along 400. It doesn't look like it on the map, but you start going up the mountain right around this area. And this whole area all the way down here is most of where Bountiful residents live. Again, these are going to be really, really high-end neighborhoods. These are the $1 million plus properties I was telling you about. Beautiful views of the valley, though, and the mountains, especially in the fall. You've got the Bountiful Temple up here in this area. There's plenty of hiking trails all the way through this area. Main one's down here. The Mueller Park Trailhead, it goes all the way up. If you really want a challenging hike, you can do these. But a lot of recreation. It's also got its own golf course. It's a mountain golf course, so it's pretty interesting. I don't play golf, but I'm sure sure some people do and like it. Then you've got the West Bountiful area, which is also kind of the same as Woodcross. It's a little older, a little more industrialized. There are some developments, I think, going on in a couple of spots, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. The good thing about Bountiful, like most of the living areas in Bountiful, is a lot of these homes have been here forever already, and there's not a lot of room to build anymore. Most of the new builds that are happening up the mountain, so they're kind of scaling up into the canyon. Which is where most of your new builds are, but not a lot of new building going on in the main Bountiful areas. If you go north here a little bit, Centerville's kind of a small area. It's also a very narrow area. If you notice that you get the Salt Lake over here that begins to move in, and a lot of this green area that you see here on the map it's marshy areas. So there's not a lot you can build over there. There are a couple things over here on the west side, but it's mostly industrial things. I think there's a battery plant out there or something like that, or battery storage. There's something over there with batteries. But Centerville is going to be a little bit on the higher end as well. They do have some townhomes and condos in kind of the downtown area, but a lot of your properties are going to be up on the mountain. It says 550, but they've got some beautiful properties up there as well. Again, there's not a lot of developments going on in the Centerville area. There is this area over here, but you've got the landfill area. So, but right by the highway, they have an In-N-Out. They have a Chick-fil-A right up over here as well. So, if you go north to Farmington, Farmington is a really interesting place because it's one of the more expensive places to live. However, it's got a good mix of. It's got this area right here. This is kind of your main original Farmington area. There's kind of the smaller, older houses. But there's not a lot of cheap living in Farmington. It's a pretty expensive place to live. Mountain properties all the way up here. They've got hiking trails. They've got the creek, waterfall trailhead. If you come over here, you have the theme park lagoon. It's got the roller coasters. It's got all the thrill rides. So if you're into that, that could be a fun thing to do. I think the Cannibal is either the second or third steepest roller coaster in the world, and so that's a fun place to take your family. I want to talk about this area over here, the more west area. There is a lot of development going on in this area. Most of these areas over here have been either vacant lots, farmland. Not a lot of people living in these areas, and they are building like crazy. So if you zoom in a little bit, let's see, right in this area, right in this Park Lane, Clark Lane, Station Parkway area, they are building a lot of apartments and condos and townhomes in this area. And they're still building them, and they're going to be building them for a while. There's a lot. So if you're looking for something a little smaller, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more affordable in Farmington, that's going to be your best bet. Because once you come out here to the west, these are really, really high-end houses. Down in this area, they're building a lot of new houses, but these houses have, half an acre, 3/4 of an acre. Some of the older ones have full acres. So there was horse properties out here and stuff like that. Because again, this was a farm area. A lot of the buildings over in the main park area, in the main station park area, are all new builds. But the Farmington station area is actually pretty fun. If you come up here, the Station Parkway, a lot of restaurants, a lot of shopping. A lot of things to do in this area. It's fun. And Farmington also has the Farmington Bay Waterfowl. So if you like bird watching or just getting out in the nature, there's that option for you too. So there's a lot to do in Farmington. It's a nice area, but it is one of the more expensive areas. It says it's $760,000 average a house. Yeah, it's expensive. There's also some new houses over here, kind of on the border of Farmington and Centerville. This whole area is a lot of new houses, a lot of new developments. So, but it's a little bit more of an expensive area to live. And also you have your Oak Ridge Country Club. This golf course was actually on the Pro Golf Tour. We drove over there once during the Pro Tour. It's weird because it doesn't look like a very big golf course. I've never been on it, but the tour seemed to like it enough, so we have a lot of golf courses. If you move up to Kaysville, Kaysville is one of my more favorite areas in Davis County. It's got one zip code, but it has two towns. And so you have Kaysville and Fruit Heights. I'll just skip through Fruit Heights here just real quick. It's really these streets here, just west of 89, and then everything east and up the mountains is Fruit Heights. They share the same zip code with Kaysville. A lot of really, really, really high-end houses. There were some houses that were in the 800s a while ago. I don't know if those are still there, but most of your houses are going to be probably 800 in Fruit Heights. Again, it's up the mountain, so you're going to get a lot of the mountain properties. The cool thing is, though, is there are some new builds. There's a couple up here that are new. Most of these houses have been here for a while, so a lot of the trees are fully grown. So it's a really nice area, especially in the fall when the leaves change color. It's really beautiful. I think that some of the neighborhoods in Fruit Heights, they don't even have sidewalks. It's all just grass and road, basically. When you come down to Kaysville, Kaysville has a couple parts to it. So it does have this east area. As you get up past 200 towards 89, the houses get bigger, they get nicer. Up here, you have Bowman's Market's kind of like a country grocery store. And then you've got your downtown Kaysville area. Again, these are kind of your smaller, possibly starter homes, but they're going to be a little bit, it's an expensive area too. You've got Davis High and you've got Davis Technical College, the DATC right here. So if anybody's going to school, you've got a college right there. And they've got the botanical centers as well. Kaysville is kind of cool because when you drive through the main street, it still has this kind of like old town feel to it. I'll try to find a picture of it and put it up, but it's kind of just a one street with the old connected buildings to each other. So it's a cool little strip right there. I think they've got a movie theater and there's a restaurant in there somewhere as well. And then when you go west of I-15, there's a couple of different things I want to point out about Kaysville. Boondocks Fun Center, they've got bowling, they've got bumper cars, they've got the racetrack, they've got zip lines, I think now. Mini golf, there's a bunch to do, laser tag. There's a lot of stuff to do here, so it's a great place to take the family. Barnes Park's a really nice park just to walk around. They've got a small playground, but it's mostly just for recreation. A lot of higher end houses. You can find a lot of houses in Kaysville in the west area that have land. That, like, if you want property, you can find third acres, half acres, 3/4 acre houses. There is this one area that they just built a few years ago, and I'll try to see if I can find a picture and put it up on the screen for you. But it's this area right here, Apricot Grove, Phillips Street. These houses they're newer builds and they don't really have any property on them, but they're kind of built in an old Americana colonial style houses, which I think is really cool. See if we can find the design from one and put it up. But it's really cool group of houses right here if you're into that. But yeah, a lot of these houses down here are going to have land to them if you're wanting something more like that. If you come up here, you're going to come to Layton. Layton's the biggest town sorry, I was going to tell you real quick. Kaysville, average price, $755. So it's one of the more expensive ones in the area. It's also one of the nicest areas, though. When you come over to Layton, Layton's the most populated in Davis County. Now, Layton has two zip codes, 84041 and 84040. East Layton, the 84040 is this area. It's most everything east of I-15 right here. And so it cuts off, I think, somewhere, let's see, around Fort Lane, I believe. Everything east of that is the other zip code. This is kind of a nice area. You have a golf course. A lot of these houses, there's some smaller houses. There's some larger houses, nicer houses, again, as you get closer to the mountains, as they always do. There's some property up here around the Case Creek Parkway that you can find that have some property, have nice mature trees, but What I really like about East Layton is a lot of the houses that were built here have already been here for a while, and most of the land is taken up. And so there's not really a lot of development going on in East Layton just because there's not a lot of room to develop. There's a couple of spots that are. If you come down to, let's see, there's Fairfield Church Street. So this is Emerald Drive, this little squiggly one. This is all a new neighborhood right here. But that's mostly it. And I think there's a couple of new builds right in this area. But that's mostly it. And I know that there was a couple they were working on east of 89. But this is a nice area. You got the Adams Canyon Trailhead. That's my favorite hiking trail in Utah that I've done. I haven't done all of them, obviously, but this one's my favorite and one that I constantly go back to. It doesn't. I don't think it necessarily gives you the best views, but it's got the best waterfalls. So if you like that and you're into that, that's a lot of fun. There's other hiking trails up along this way. But East Layton, houses have already been there a while. A lot of the trees are already mature and fully grown. So when you drive through some of these areas, it feels like you're driving more through trees than you are a town, especially as you get closer to 89. You get to the 84041 zip code. That's this bigger part of Layton all the way through here, right? You have Antelope Drive, which extends from 89, and this actually takes you all the way out to Antelope Island. We'll get to that in just a second. But there's lots to do in East Layton and West Layton. If you come up here, you have the aquarium and wildlife. This is actually inside the Layton Hills Mall. So you actually have to go in the mall, and it's on the first floor, but there's a lot of shopping centers in this area. There's a couple movie theaters over here. There's a building right in this area. They've got an escape room there. That's a lot of fun. You've got your Walmarts, your Home Depots, all the usual stuff. Layton has a lot of really good mixes of new builds, starter homes, older houses, whatever you want or whatever you're thinking about looking into. You can pretty much find just about a little bit of everything in Layton. When you get down here, if you follow Gentile Street all the way west, a lot of all of this area used to just be farmland. Some of it still is, but it's growing, and they're building all in these areas over here. It's a lot of new houses. I think if you go, let's see, this is Gordon Avenue. There's some townhomes in these areas right here that they've built that you can find probably in the 400 or 500 range. Average price in Layton is $541, which is a little bit better than some of the other areas. But just, it always depends on where you're looking. The numbers get skewed a little bit, especially when, if you come up to East Layton, you got 3 or 4 houses that are $6 million or something like that. It really pulls those numbers up. But that's Layton for you. I didn't include Hill Air Force Base. So if you're in the military, if you're a veteran, if you're active in the military and you get transferred over to Hill Air Force Base, they do have houses in condos, I believe. And I have a pass, so I can get you up there and we can look at houses there. But I didn't include that just because I don't think the general public probably wants a lot of information about the Air Force Base. So, there was one other part to East Layton I wanted to talk about real quick before I move on here. So you got this part, and this is right up by the base, right? All of these are new. These are new townhomes, houses, condos. I'm not a big fan of this area because the landfill is right here behind this golf course. The advantage to the area is you've got 89 right here. 89, if you follow 89 into the South Weber area and then go east onto 84, this takes you into the mountains. This is going to take you to your skiing resorts, Mountain Green, Snow Basin, all the places that people really like to go. So, and that's really true anywhere in Davis County that we've talked about. 89 runs right through here. So if you're in Farmington, you can jump right on 89. It's 15 minutes to the canyon. So not a bad setup. Couple more here I'll go through with you real quick. So this area out here is Syracuse. Let's see. Yeah, so this whole area out here borders Layton. Syracuse is fun. I was surprised when I looked at the average price because it says Syracuse, let's see, it's $579. Syracuse has a lot of nice houses, but Syracuse is probably one of the most actively being developed areas right now. This whole area where Jensen Park is, these areas right here are all brand new. They just built these in the last few years. And then these areas out here by Black Island Farms, this whole area is being developed right now. In this area by the Glen Eagle Golf Course, they're building new buildings way over here as well. There's a lot of new developments going on. But there's stuff to do. You've got the Rush Funplex. This is one of my favorite places to go and hang out. It's got laser tag, bumper cars. What else does it have? It's got, well, it had 2 bowling lanes. They got rid of it. They got 1 bowling lane now. It's got rock climbing. It's got foam pits, roller skating. It's got a lot. So it's a fun place for these areas out here in the western areas of Syracuse. These are great places to have families because there's stuff to do. And then you've got Antelope Island, which a couple people live out there. I think they work for the state. But it's about a 15, 20-minute drive once you get past everything to get out there. I would just say if you're going to go out, wear mosquito spray. But there's lots to do. A lot of hiking trails. The Buffalo Roam. You got the ranches out here. So, and then this last one I'm going to talk to you about is a kind of a combination here. It's Clearfield, Sunset, Clinton, and West Point. The reason they group them in is they all share one zip code. I think the reason they did that was because these used to be really, really small towns. So you had the Clearfield area, which is this area here. Then you had Sunset, which is really a small little, I'll just click on that. You can see it's a really tiny little area. I don't know how many people even live there. It says 5,000 from 2020. But everything that's built there is built there. You can't, there's nowhere else really to build. I think they put up a couple of apartments, but that population probably hasn't changed. But Clearfield, there used to not be a lot west of Clearfield and Sunset. So you had Clinton, which only used to go out to about right here, and all this and west wasn't even there. And then you had West Point, which was mostly like farmland, ranches, stuff like that. As of right now, West Point and Clinton are probably the two most developing areas in Davis County. And it's evidenced by, it's hard to drive on some of these roads because these are small little country roads that not a lot of people used to drive, and now they're having to expand them to 5-6 lane roads because it's so crowded down here. West Point, if you want country living, if you want a new place, if you want that more country feel, yes, it's being developed, but West Point's going to be your best bet in Davis County, in my opinion, if you want that country living. It is a little bit more expensive, but a lot of these houses have half acres, 3/4, full acres, and even more. It's a great place to raise a family. I met my wife out here. It's a great place to live. Some of these areas here around the 4,500, these are where they're building a lot of the new stuff. I think they just built a new school down here in this area. So there's a lot of development. Clinton's the same way. All these areas used to just be empty farming. It's all being developed. There's a new deal to put in, I think, 200-300 more townhomes. Clinton's a great place to live, but it's getting crowded. And then they're filling all this in. So average price point, I kind of bumped them all together because they share a zip code, but it's $483. It's still probably your cheapest bet. But it really just depends because some of the Sunset and Clinton houses in this area is going to be a little bit cheaper. The further west you go, the nicer the houses get, the more expensive it gets. So, but it's a great place to live. You've got your Walmart and your Lowe's up here. They built a Fat Cats right here, it's like a movie theater with bowling, and they've got an arcade. They've got a couple other things, so it's a lot of fun. So these are really great places to raise families if that's what you're looking for. So with that, that's pretty much all of Davis County. If you have any questions or you want to know more, or maybe if you just want to see more pictures of things, yeah, let me know. Send me an email or a text, and I'll help you out. and I will see you in the next video.